Hi guys, this is probably nonsense and I'm probably out of my lane here, but I just wanted to rap about something stupid. I want to talk about old age and growing older. They say, or it's thought, that as you grow older you get wiser or even smarter. But I find, if anything, the reverse is almost always true. When when you're born and you're a kid, you don't have limitations. You see things, you know things, and you just use your intuition. And you have a wisdom that, if anything, you lose very early in life, and mostly by following the crowd of the people that are older than you. And just because you're older only means you've existed longer. It doesn't say what you did with that time. You could have very well used that time to get stupider as well as smarter, and most people use it to get stupider, it seems like to me, even myself sometimes. Not that I'm above anything, I'm just talking about, having lived longer than I did before, and how what the difference is and how I feel about it. So, if anything, I looked around at all the adults when I was growing up, and I didn't want to be anything like any of them. They just sat around on their couches and didn't want to play or do anything. And I thought, I'm not going to be like that. And sure enough, I didn't. I walk between 80 and 100 miles a week, and I don't just sit there and don't do anything. And I accomplished my mission of wanting to basically, at least part of me, stay the way I was when I was younger. Gray hair only means that you are closer to failing physically to the point of death. It doesn't mean you're wiser or better in any way, in my book. And a final note, imagine the saying that you get wiser as you get older, but that's if you, there's a saying, perfect practice makes perfect, not just practice makes perfect. If you live on if the world is stupid, I'm not saying it is or not, but if it is, and it very well likely is, and then living longer on a stupid earth, if anything, could just mean you're stupider than you were when you lived as long on a stupid earth. So that's all. I think my message is I just lead by example, if I lead at all, and not by what I say, because anybody can say anything, and I can say things. Doesn't mean I live by it. Doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean it's good or true. But the example I try to live by is just, free thinking, and if anything, I find myself not having gotten wiser as I got older, and I kind of think that that's a good thing, because it means I've retained a lot of my childness that I had when I was a kid and teenager, and I didn't get sucked into, conformity or stupidity even, that it results from doing whatever everybody else is doing around you, whether they be younger than you or older than you, whatever. Because when I was growing up, I also didn't do what the other kids did either. I didn't just not do what the adults did. I didn't just not want to be what the adults were. I looked around at some of the kids I was growing up with, and I didn't want to be like them either. A lot of them were just doing drugs and just fighting and all kinds of weird, I don't know, weird, but all kinds of stuff that I thought was really unpleasant. So for the most part, I didn't really have friends. But I had my music, and I had myself, and I had my spirituality. So, and I haven't seen any of my friends that I had, if I call them friends or whatever, whoever they were, acquaintances or neighbors I had growing up. But I don't have a good feeling about how they are. A lot of them might be not in good shape. But whatever, I think that, I don't know. I just think that there's that I don't know. I just think that people should. Freedom is a big thing for me. It's not just. Health is the main thing. Health is the new wealth for me. But I also like freedom to think as I want. The idea that we have to think like everybody else brings, at least in my mind, back to the Inquisition and the Dark Ages. That was the ultimate example of that. And to the extent that we have that again, is the extent we have the Dark Ages again. To the extent I'm commanded to think like everybody else on pain of this or that, is the extent to which we're back to the Dark Ages, or whatever extent we are in the Dark Ages. And I'm not only against that, but I think I think it's worthy to be against it, and I am against it. And if anything, I think a lot of us have cellular memory of that, because I believe in reincarnation, and a lot of us have been through that and still remember the horror of having to choose between your life and how you want to live and think, or being different, in other words. You're different, but are you willing to die for it, kind of thing. And I think a lot of people fold with that genetic memory or cellular memory and just want to be like everybody else at all costs, because they remember or think or plan that if they don't, bad things are going to happen to them. Well, to me, it's not thinking like everybody else is already a bad thing. If I fold to that, I've already lost. If I lose to my own individuality, then maybe I fought a worthy fight and I'm willing to lose. But if I lose to fear and conformity right off the get-go, then I've already lost myself, and that's not only a bigger loss; it's a present loss that's already happened. It's not a loss that I'm looking forward to, or might happen. And not only that, it's a significantly bigger loss than losing just to, well, the powers that be got the upper hand. Well, at least I gave it a good fight, and I was true to myself. If people that fold, I can't say either of those. They've already lost because they've already folded, and they weren't themselves. They didn't live nobly, or live for the virtuous or true, or doing it the way they felt. They just caved to survive. But at the end of the day, we all die anyway, so you might as well make your death count. In my book, I'm going to die, so I might as well make a statement while I'm here. If my only statement is I'm scared, don't hurt me, I want to be like everybody else at all costs so I can survive one day longer, then your message is either weak, negative, or zero. Anyway, I'm just chatting. If nobody watches this, I may just delete it. So let me know if you want me to by watching it or not. I'm almost home. I'm gonna do hopefully a really good take of Light My Fire. I figured out the ending. I couldn't wait till I figured everything perfectly and then do the perfect take. I needed to do what I had at the time and go with the passion. But now I've got the ending down. I'm gonna try to do a good take of Light My Fire tonight. Love you guys. Peace. Rock and roll.